Here we are. We are live. This is a special occasion where Cyrus and I are right next to each other this time.
That's right. That's right.
We're really excited to be here. We're in Santa Monica together, and you see the fruit shelves behind me. They're kind of not very much fruit in them because we're leaving to go to Costa Rica tomorrow.
That's exactly
We're
right.
going to get prepared for the retreat that's coming up. So I think we actually had a few spots open up.
Yeah, that's right. We have 2 spots available.
Two spots. If you want to come join us in Costa Rica, we'll talk more about that as the webinar comes on. But let's get going with the poll here. We want to know what type of diabetes are you living with. So I'm going to load that poll. Let us know. And let us know where you're coming from. So we are here coming to you from Santa Monica in the same room this time. Super fun. So write in the chat box where you're coming from. I'd love to hear from you. And we have, as you see, Kylie is in the chat box here. We're going to have Jose in the chat box as well, answering questions as they come up. We got an important topic today. An important topic.
That's right. Today we're going to be talking about AMLA, the magical superfood that maybe you've heard of, maybe you've never heard of it.
Yeah.
The research behind it is absolutely amazing, and we want to tell you guys all about it.
That's right. That's what we're going to cover today. So, wow, look at this. We got people from Australia. We got someone from Miami, Illinois, Loma Linda. Wow, a blue zone. That's terrific.
I like it.
Tampa, Florida. I love that. I went to high school in Sarasota. I was close to you. We have somebody saying that they have resolved their type 2 diabetes. I love that.
That's great.
Wonderful. Michigan, Atlanta, Massachusetts. It's terrific. Central Coast, California. Love that. Glad to have you with us. Oklahoma. Got Mike, Tampa, type 2. Okay, good. We're going to give you a lot of information about how you can really take control of your diabetes health, especially with type 2 for sure. Type 2 Minneapolis. Let's see what our poll is telling us so far. So far, 49% with type 2. We have 23% that don't have diabetes. But a lot of people, it's fun to see a lot of people come into our webinars who actually don't even have diabetes. They're interested in this information.
Yeah, it's one of my, I think I'm like growing increasingly surprised by the number of people who don't have diabetes who show up because, it's interesting that we love it actually, if you have more of a preventative mindset.
Yes.
That always makes us a little bit happy.
Absolutely. And some of these, we know you guys are helping loved ones. You guys might be, we have physicians, we have RDs coming in here, gathering this information so they can pass on to their patients. We love that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have Virginia, diagnosed as type 2, but she thinks she's a type 1.5. Okay, good. Make sure to get some testing and figure that out. Want to be on top of your diabetes health there. From Mississippi, we got somebody from Florida. Anna wants to announce that she's diabetes free. Congratulations. I love that.
That's work.
We got Linda close to the Gainesville, Florida, where I went to college. I love that. Terrific. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Las Vegas representing. Yes. Love this. Wow. Thailand. David, welcome from Thailand.
Oh, that's the first time I've seen Thailand.
Yeah.
This is great.
I kind of want to visit there. Eat some of your fruit.
Yeah, can we come over?
Yeah.
So we have a total of 389 of you guys in the room right now, which is awesome. We're expecting a full house tonight, probably about 500, maybe 600 people.
Absolutely.
So we'll wait just a couple more minutes for people to join in, and then we can go into we can start talking about AMLA, the magic behind AMLA. And it's funny because we first got introduced to understanding Indian gooseberries probably, I would say 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the more information we read, the more we were flabbergasted.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like it was too good to be true. Like
absolutely. We're going to talk more here tonight about how we were asking clients to use it, and it just tasted terrible.
No, it's just
like, it's going to get you the results. Please just do it.
Yeah.
So
I remember when I first went out and bought an AMLA product and tried to use it, I knew that it was, going to be very helpful in regulating blood glucose and maybe boosting energy levels. And I would take a little scoop of it and I would put it into a smoothie and I would drink it. And I was like, this is tasty. I love it. And it didn't matter how little I put in. It was just like, it would ruin the flavor every single time. So, that's why we put together AMLA Green. We'll tell you all about it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. So we got Jeff asking a question. That's great. Ask questions. We're going to have our team answering them as much as we can. And we're also going to save a lot of them for the Q&A at the end. So make sure to stick with us for the Q&A. All right.
Yeah. So if at any point in this process you have a question, make sure you just put your question directly into the chat box. We got people on the back end who are going to be answering your questions, and then also we'll go into, if there's questions that keep on repeating, we'll go into those in detail at the end of the webinar for sure.
Absolutely. Terrific.
So don't be shy.
Okay, so are we going to share the presentation on my computer or your computer?
Let's try it on my computer.
Okay.
Let's see if this works.
All right, we're going to test it out, guys. All right, so we're going to get into this. All right, Jose's here answering questions. Kim and Kylie will be in the chat box. That's great.
I don't think my computer's wanting to work here.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe we should do it from your computer.
Okay, so we'll do it from my computer. And we'll just use yours for the chat box so I can chime in there if necessary.
For sure.
So let me go grab the presentation. It's going to be right here. All
okay,
right.
we're almost there.
Let's see here.
Looks like we got... So Bea asked a question, any other supplements you recommend? I'm actually glad you asked this question. We do not like supplements. Amla Green is not a supplement. It is very important to understand the difference between what a supplement actually is and what Amla Green is. So we're going to go into detail about what that is, but supplementation is not something that we advocate. And we want to make that pretty darn clear so that you guys are very aware of the fact that, let's not use the word supplement when we're talking about Amla. Okay. Let me just share my screen with you guys, and then we'll be all set. You guys can see my screen. Write the word yes in the chat box. Hopefully it should be a bunch of gooseberries on the screen. If you can see that, just type the word yes. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, you should see everything full screen.
Absolutely. Okay.
Cheryl says
I'm seeing some yeses already. Bale, Paul, Leonard. Yes, great. Cool. Okay, so here we go. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the insane superfood that can absolutely change your life from the inside out. And here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about what antioxidants are and why they're important for your cellular health. We're going to do a focus on the amazing cholesterol lowering effects of Amla. This is where we first discovered the power of Amla, and there's some pretty amazing research about this. Then we'll talk about Amla versus pharmaceutical medications, because there's some direct head-to-head competitions between the two of them, and it's pretty surprising just how effective Amla is. We'll talk about what makes Amla, how come everybody doesn't know about it? If it's so good, then how come you can't just go to the store and pick this stuff up? How come people aren't talking about it? And then we'll show you how you can get your hands on some of this stuff as well. And then we also have a really cool offer for you guys today. We've been working super, super hard in the background. So we're going to make sure we put a great offer in front of you guys. So make sure you stick around until the end. For those of you who don't know me, I'll give you a quick backstory here. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 22 years old. So that was 2002. Not only did I get type 1 diabetes, but in the 6 months preceding that, I had also developed Hashimoto's hypothyroidism and alopecia universalis. So I was a senior at Stanford University at the time, and I started to feel very, very ill, very low energy, super thirsty all the time, couldn't concentrate. So when I went to the doctors, they diagnosed me with type 1 diabetes, and they said, hey, your only option for eating is to eat the foods that you see on the screen here. You got to follow a low carbohydrate diet. So they told me to eat more butter, more eggs, more bacon, more fish, more red meat. And at the time, great, I was kind of already eating that way, and this was an opportunity for me to continue to eat more. So I did, thinking that it was going to help me control my blood glucose, but it didn't. The exact opposite thing happened, and my blood glucose became very, very challenging to control. My blood glucose meter became a random number generator. It didn't matter what time of the day it was. I would see numbers like this, 284. Sometimes I'd see 40s. Sometimes I'd see 400s. And for the life of me, I just could not control my blood glucose. So on top of that, exercise became super hard. And I grew up as an athlete. I play every sport under the sun. Thank you to my mom. She encouraged me to get involved in, soccer and baseball and swimming and hiking and biking at a young age. And so when I couldn't really use my body the way I wanted it to, I knew something was terribly wrong. So after about a year, I decided to switch over to a plant-based diet. I started eating the foods that you see on the screen here, lots of color, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. And this was the first time that I was able to eat this much fruit in any one sitting. And I got to tell you, it tasted fantastic. So my carbohydrate intake just went through the roof. We started out in the low 100s, and then I went all the way up to 600 plus within a very short period of time. And I was expecting that my insulin use would also do the same thing, but I'll show you what it did in a second. So what's important to understand is that my carbohydrate intake went up, shown in blue, and my fat intake went down, shown in red. So, over here, my carbohydrate intake went up into the 600s, and my fat intake came down, starting at about 80 grams per day, all the way down to, between 10 and 20 grams per day. And my insulin use came down significantly, more than 40% in the first 3 weeks. So at this point, I knew that there was something fascinating going on because I was eating more carbohydrate for less insulin. So I was so excited by this whole process that I went back to school and I studied for 5 years at UC Berkeley. And there I earned a PhD in nutritional biochemistry so that I could understand the super, super nerd details of nutritional biochemistry and be able to explain what was happening inside of my body and what happens in human bodies and how your food affects your risk for diabetes. So there I read thousands and thousands of scientific papers on diabetes. And my thesis was I wrote it on the causes and the effects of insulin resistance. So here I am 15 years later. I eat lots of carbohydrate-rich foods every single day. My insulin use has come down dramatically by about 40% overall. And on a daily basis, I'm injecting approximately 25 units of insulin per day. And my A1C values are consistently in the non-diabetic range. Every time I go to the doctor, they take a look at my A1C. They make the assumption that I'm getting frequent hypoglycemias when in reality, that's not the case. And the reason is because my A1C is so low that they're very excited by these numbers. So that's my story, and I'll turn it over to Robbie.
All right. So my name is Robbie Barbero, and some people know me on social media as Mindful Diabetic Robbie, where, as you can see on the screen here, I love to share colorful pictures of the foods I'm eating and let people know how abundant and tasty this lifestyle really is. So I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 12 years old, just about to turn 13. So that was over 18 years ago. And at that time, I was following the standard American diet. There was no limitations. We didn't really think about things not to eat or things to eat in our house. We just ate what everybody else ate. And at that time, I was getting sick all the time. So I was taking allergy medications, Claritin D, Nasonex, and still getting sick. I had terrible acne. It was very frustrating during my adolescent years. I ended up having to take one of the most severe drugs you can take for acne, which is Accutane. And I also suffered from plantar fasciitis. So I had to wear these big blue boots while I was sleeping at night. It was very uncomfortable. And luckily, I found a solution eventually. So of course, living with type 1 diabetes, you start to learn, you read books, you talk to people, and you try and figure out what's the best way to manage my health, manage my blood glucose, and feel good. And I came across the low carbohydrate diet, ended up trying a Weston A. Price Foundation type of diet. And this is a program where sugar's said to be bad. So that includes fruit and things like, even bananas, apples had to be limited. So in this program, I'm eating grass-fed beef, raw milk. That's where I'm getting most of my calories. And I was not feeling good. So I was actually just really struggling with this. So then I tried to do a plant-based version and another low-carb diet, plant-based. This time I'm getting calories from nuts, nut butters, olive oil, eating lots of greens, but I had terribly low energy. That was my biggest problem here. I was on campus at the University of Florida several times. I almost blacked out. And at this point, I was super scared. So I ended up going and eventually learning about a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet. So I signed up for a coaching program and it absolutely changed my life. It was the best decision I ever made. I learned how I can eat fruits and vegetables in as much as I wanted, as much as I desired, and my insulin sensitivity was dramatic. I could not believe how much carbohydrate I was consuming and how little my insulin intake was. My life changed. My energy changed. I didn't need these medications anymore. My skin started to clear up. I certainly didn't need those blue boots. It was great. So now it's over 10 years later, and I feel amazing. My current A1C is actually 6.2, and I'm in a healthy range for people living with diabetes. I'm active every day. I'm eating foods I love, and I just love sharing with everybody.
So there you have it. All right. So now that you guys know exactly who we are, we can go into the bulk of the presentation here. First question: what are antioxidants, and why are they important for your cellular health? So it's important to understand that mitochondria are located everywhere in your body. Okay, in your chat box, here's what I want you guys to answer. The question is this: what are mitochondria? Okay, in the chat box, please give me your best answer to what you think mitochondria do, because they're very, very, very important players in this game of metabolic health, and your diet influences your mitochondrial health big time. So in case you fell asleep in high school biology class, this is your opportunity to try and impress everyone else in the room. Let us know what you think. I see things, tiny powerhouses of the cell, make ATP, produces energy, powerhouse of the cell. Then they can carry nutrients, tiny ninjas. This is great. They make energy, they make power. Okay, very good. So you guys clearly are smarter than me. These mitochondria are located everywhere in your body. They're in your muscle tissue, they're in your liver, they're in your brain, they're in your thyroid gland, they're in your blood vessels. They are, just like you guys said, the powerhouses of cells. And there are, depending on the cell type, there can be as few as 10 mitochondria or as many as 4,000 mitochondria. It just depends on which tissue you're in. Now, these mitochondria, they produce ATP, and all cells require ATP to live on. When you eat a high fat or a high calorie or a high sugar diet, what ends up happening is that you generate these things called free radicals. And these free radicals here shown in red are generated at the level of the mitochondria. And these free radicals go on to do all types of gnarly things within your cell, within a cellular environment. The first thing that they do is they cause direct DNA damage. So they migrate into the nucleus and they start to create either single or double strand breaks. And that can be a huge problem. They also damage mitochondria. They also damage DNA that's inside of mitochondria itself, because mitochondria carries its own DNA. So the second thing that happens is that these free radicals can damage proteins, and these proteins are located all throughout the cells. There's proteins located in the phospholipid membrane that protects the cell. There's proteins that are located in organelle membranes. There's proteins that are floating all throughout the cellular environment. And every single protein in your cell, which is tens of thousands, is subject to what's called protein oxidation. And that's a huge problem, because as soon as proteins get dysfunctional, then they lose their function. In addition, free radicals can cause lipid peroxidation or lipid oxidation. So it's another way of saying that free radicals can damage the function of lipids all throughout your body, and especially in the plasma membrane, because that's where the bulk of the lipids live within a cellular environment. And these free radicals cause damage everywhere. So as you can see in this picture here, there's free radical damage. Free radical damage can happen inside of joints, inside of your shoulder, inside of your elbow, inside of your wrist, your hip, your knee. But free radical damage can also happen in your organs, right? They can happen inside of your digestive system, in your heart, in your liver, in your lungs, in your kidney, in your brain. Okay, it can happen on your tongue. It can happen in your Achilles tendon. It can happen anywhere. There's nothing you can do to prevent free radical damage from affecting other tissues once it's already taken place inside of your body. Now, you basically have two options for minimizing free radical damage. The first one is to limit the amount of free radicals that are produced by mitochondria. And the second is to eat an antioxidant-rich whole food diet to try and quench the existing free radical population. So in other words, you can either limit the supply, which is limiting how many are created, or you can limit the damage or the effectiveness of each one of these free radicals. So again, when you eat high fat and or high calorie and or high sugar diets, you end up generating free radicals. When you eat antioxidant rich foods, those antioxidants, what they do, the reason they're called antioxidants is because they quench oxidative compounds. They quench free radicals. So rather than having large amounts of these red, free radicals floating everywhere, these antioxidants come in and they actually shut those free radicals down. They quench them and they make them less damaging. So when you have less free radicals being generated, less free radicals present in a cellular environment, less free radical damage happens in the nuclear DNA and in the mitochondrial DNA. Less free radical damage occurs in proteins, and less free radical damage occurs in lipids. And all of that is a very, very, very good thing because it preserves cellular function. Now, it turns out that there's some research here that shows that plant foods contain, on average, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 5, not 10, but 64 times more antioxidant content than animal foods. So studies have been done where they actually surveyed thousands and thousands of commonly eaten foods, beverages, spices, herbs, and supplements. And they cataloged every single one of these foods to try and find out what its actual antioxidant content was. And if you look at the actual research to try and find out what are the foods that contain the most antioxidant value inside of whole foods, you come up with this list. This is the most antioxidant rich food commonly eaten by human beings. And it's called dragon's blood. I honestly still don't even know what this stuff is. If anybody can tell me what dragon's blood is, then great, that'd be fantastic. But if you move down the list, you'll see here that all of these, these are foods that are difficult to get your hands on, like trifala powder, coffee cherry powder, sumac bran, ground cloves. This is the highest antioxidant containing spice on the planet. And then you end up with this stuff called Indian gooseberries. So Indian gooseberries is the first whole food on the list. And like I said, there's 3,100 foods on this list. So when I first saw this, I said to myself, Indian gooseberries, what are these things? I got to learn a little bit about this stuff. And so then we started digging and found a lot of incredible information. So if you take a look at just the berries, the fruit, and the vegetables here, at the very top of this list, we have the African baobab tree. Then we also have umla, Indian gooseberries, right here at the very, very top. And if you take a look at the actual antioxidant content here, so this number is basically just an indicator of the power of the antioxidant present inside of the food. And you'll see that these numbers here are things like, 48, that's a good ORAC value, or this is the measurement called ORAC. Dog rose has 78, moringa has a 12, and an African baobab has 48, but then umla by itself is 261. This thing is in a league by itself. Okay, so of all the fruits and vegetables commonly eaten, umla is by far the king. Okay, and it actually turns out that umla has been studied extensively and has been classified as a food that has what's called an exceptionally high antioxidant value, or exceptionally high antioxidant power. And the average antioxidant content of umla berries, or Indian gooseberries, is relatively high. Okay, there were 13 samples that are especially high in antioxidant category, and umla is the leader of all of those. Okay, so why do you care? Great, umla has antioxidants. Great, what is that going to do for you? Here's what it can do for you. If you take a look at the effect of umla by itself on lowering LDL cholesterol, it's staggering. Here's how you read this. This is a study done in just a small number of patients. Okay, there's only literally 8 patients in this study. And what they did was they took people and they analyzed what happened to their LDL cholesterol starting at 0 days all the way through to 21 days. So this is a 3-week-long experiment, adding a small amount of umla to their diet every single day. And they were just monitoring what happens to their LDL cholesterol. So the LDL cholesterol started right here over 100, which is elevated. And over the course of 21 days, you end up with LDL concentrations that some of them are cut by 40% or more, 60%. One person's LDL cholesterol didn't change, but the majority of them did. So this is a very stark or very sharp reduction. And that happened within 3 weeks. And that's pretty unheard of in the world of LDL cholesterol. Okay. At the same time, AMLA actually increases HDL cholesterol. So you start here with numbers in the mid 40s and you end up with numbers right here, either in the mid 40s or as high as 50, 69, and 83. So this is a pretty drastic increase in HDL cholesterol, which is a good thing as well. When it comes to triglycerides, if you start with values right here that are in the mid 200s or high 200s, in a very short period of time, AMLA by itself can just drop your cholesterol, your triglyceride values here down into either the mid 100s or low 200s. So this is a very sharp reduction, again, only within a 3-week period. Now, if you go a little bit farther and you dig more into the research, there's actually some studies that do a direct head-to-head comparison of AMLA versus statin medication. And in this paper in particular, researchers studied the effect of AMLA versus what's called simvastatin. So this is a commonly prescribed statin medication in the Western world. So here's what they did. They took 60 people who were hyperlipidemic. This is just a fancy super nerd way of saying people who have high cholesterol. So 60 people with high cholesterol, okay, who started out with a total cholesterol of more than 240 and an LDL more than 130. And they split these 60 people between 2 groups. The first group was treated with AMLA, which was given 500 milligrams of AMLA every day. And then the second group was given simvastatin instead. Now, normally you would split them 30 and 30, but for some reason they gave more people AMLA than they gave simvastatin. Not exactly sure why. So here's what happened. Their total cholesterol went down in both groups. So AMLA is shown in white, simvastatin is shown in black. So total cholesterol went down in both groups equivalently. LDL cholesterol went down in both groups almost equivalently. It looks like simvastatin might have beat it just by a little bit. HDL values went up in both groups for sure. VLDL concentrations and triglyceride actually went down more with the simvastatin group than it did with the AMLA group. So for total cholesterol and LDL reductions, AMLA is just as effective. And the most important thing to know here is that your LDL, this is the most important marker in your cholesterol metabolism, because LDL is most closely linked with your risk for heart disease. So anything that can lower your LDL cholesterol is a good thing. And here you can see that AMLA does it just as good, if not a little bit better, than simvastatin. But here's something that's very important to understand. AMLA has a bunch of side effects, and I'm going to show you. I'm sorry. Statin medications have a bunch of side effects, and I'm going to show you exactly what those are. Okay. Statin medications have been studied extensively over and over and over again because it's the most widely prescribed cholesterol reducing medication on the planet. But over the course of time, as more and more people, as millions of people have been taking statin medications, there have actually been a large collection of side effects that have become more and more obvious. And these side effects include the list that you see on the screen here. Okay, you start out with hemorrhagic stroke. Okay, this is a fatal condition. This is basically, a hemorrhagic stroke can result in death in a very short period of time, and that's something that you want to avoid at all costs. And it's sort of like the end product of all cardiovascular disease. So nobody wants hemorrhagic stroke. Nobody wants peripheral neuropathy. Okay, this is very painful. It's kind of lightning bolts in your limbs that can happen in your fingers, your toes, your legs, your arms. Cognitive impairment. Okay, this is the inability to think properly, and this is something that cognitive decline is something that people with Alzheimer's disease are experiencing as they progress and get older and older and older. Okay, statin medication can also increase your cancer risk. Think about it. You're taking a statin medication to lower your cholesterol, but now you're increasing your risk for cancer, especially breast cancer. And on top of that, in men, taking statin medication can actually increase your risk for erectile dysfunction. So I've only highlighted the things in red here that I think are important, because these are side effects that nobody wants. But I mean, as you can see, there's a whole list of other side effects that I haven't even touched yet. And these are very important to understand. So What you're looking for is something that can lower your cholesterol values without leading to all these adverse side effects. Okay, now some researchers actually went a little bit more in detail trying to find out what happens to your risk for diabetes when you're taking a statin medication. Is that affected? And what they found is that statin medications actually increase your risk for diabetes by as much as 10%, we'll call it. So think about it. Just think about it from the top down. You go to the doctor, you have high cholesterol. Your doctor gives you statin medication to bring your cholesterol level down. But in the process, your risk for cancer goes up, and now you're at a greater risk for the development of type 2 diabetes. It doesn't make any sense. I just can't. I would love to stand behind statin medication. I really would, but it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. Other meta-analyses here in hundreds of thousands of people have also found a very similar effect, which is that statins increase your risk for type 2 diabetes by 12%. So you can see here, this odds ratio, this is a positive number. And what that means is that anything greater than 1 means that there's a higher risk for the development of diabetes. So when you take statin medication, you end up with an odds ratio of 1.12, which is a 12% increased risk for the development of diabetes. That's a huge problem. So if you go a little bit deeper and you try and say, okay, well, what happens when you take AMLA and you do a head-to-head comparison versus diabetes medication? Because we saw that it's just as good as, if not better than, statin medication, and it has 0 side effects. But what happens when you compare it versus diabetes medication? So another paper here tried to analyze the effect of either 1 or 2 or 3 grams of AMLA in direct head-to-head comparison with glimepiride, which is a commonly prescribed oral medication for people living with type 2 diabetes. So if you follow this red line, you'll see that people began with a fasting blood glucose over 125, this is the definition of type 2 diabetes. And over the course of 3 weeks, by taking glimepiride on a daily basis, their fasting glucose first fell to under 100, and then it stayed under 100, and then it kept on going even further. So by the end of 3 weeks, people who were using glimepiride had fasting glucoses of about 80, and that's a good thing. But if you take 1 gram of AMLA per day, you start out with an equivalent high fasting blood glucose. It doesn't come down as significantly in the first week, but by the end of 2 weeks and 3 weeks, you're almost equivalent to what you would get with glimepiride. If you increase your dose to 2 grams of AMLA per day, you start out with the same high fasting glucose, sharp drop, sharp drop, sharp drop. Now you get an even more replicative effect here with 2 grams of AMLA per day. Now, finally, if you take 3 grams of AMLA per day, look what happens. High fasting glucose to begin, type 2 diabetes, boom, sharp decrease, better than glimepiride, even better after 2 weeks, even better after 3 weeks. This is the power of AMLA right here. 3 grams of AMLA per day is more effective than some of the leading diabetes medication. And again, AMLA has 0 side effects, 0. So I started to ask myself a very simple question. I said, how can this stuff be so good? It's better than statin medication. It's better than diabetes medication. It lowers your LDL cholesterol. It lowers your triglycerides. It lowers your blood pressure. What else does it do? If you look even further, you'll find out that it's a hypoglycemic, meaning it lowers your blood glucose. It's an antioxidant, as we talked about earlier. It decreases lipid peroxidation, as we talked about earlier. It's an antibacterial. That means if you have a bacterial infection, AMLA itself can help get rid of that infection, or it can be used as a preventative antibacterial. Okay, it's an anti-ulcerogenic, which means it can prevent ulcers from forming in the first place. Hepatoprotective, which means hepato is code for liver. So this is actually protective of liver function. And it's gastroprotective, which means it's protective of stomach function as well. Okay, the list goes on and on and on. It's unbelievable. So some researchers have gone and created these fancy graphics where they say, look, just a little bit of AMLA on a daily basis, just a small amount, which is 3 grams per day. 3 grams, that's like a paperclip. Okay, that's like half of a berry once per day. Is cardioprotect, protects your heart, your brain, your lungs, your skin. It improves hair growth. Women in India have been using this stuff for centuries to promote better skin, clearer skin, more hair growth, and better nails. Okay. It can improve your immune system. It can help protect your kidneys. Okay. It's a venom antidote. Who knew? It can protect against snakes. Okay. It prevents against diarrhea. It protects your liver. It's a general anti-inflammatory. It improves wound healing. It improves the function of your brain. It's a laxative. I didn't realize that it was a laxative, but in small amounts, it actually does not have as much of a laxative effect as it does in large amounts. Again, it's antimicrobial or antibacterial. It can protect your eyes. It's anti-hypothyroid. Okay. It protects your kidneys, and it's anti-diabetic. I've been studying nutritional biochemistry for a long time, almost 15 years at this point. In my life, I have never, ever seen one food that's this powerful. Nothing compares to the power of amla. So a simple question is, why isn't amla everywhere? Okay, very, very simple question to answer, actually. Here's why you don't see this stuff all over the place. Here's why when you show up to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, you don't get hit with a bunch of amla products on the shelves. The reason is because amla is not grown in the United States. That's number one. Okay, fine. So you can import it into the United States. No big deal. Except the problem is that the raw crops can sometimes be contaminated. And that's a problem, because if you're importing contaminated material into this country, you're either not going to get it in the country in the first place, or consumers are going to get really pissed off. Number three, there's a very large variability from crop to crop, meaning that some amla berries grow to their fullest potential and have very high antioxidant content, and some amla berries don't. And that can be a problem, again, if you're trying to create some product or some way to get it into the United States. If there's a lot of variability, that's a problem. Organic amla is very challenging to find, because sometimes this stuff is grown with pesticides, and clearly nobody wants to be ingesting pesticides and try and avoid them as much as possible. The worst part about amla is that it tastes terrible. It is terrible. Like I was saying earlier in the webinar, when I first ordered some products off of Amazon to see if I could, start experimenting around with this stuff. And I put it in my mouth, and it was like I had the same face that this woman on the screen has. Okay, it's like, we liken it to a combination of vinegar and dish soap together. Okay, combine the two of those, shake it up in a bottle, try drinking it. That's the face you're gonna make. Okay, that's what happens when you try and eat raw amla berries. So we had a huge problem to solve, because we were like, wait a minute, there's this food that's not grown in the United States. Very few people know about it. It's more powerful than diabetes medication. It's more powerful than statin medication. It's one of the most antioxidant rich foods on the planet, but yet it does that when you try and eat it. Let's solve that problem. So we worked super hard to try and find out if we can improve the taste of amla without sacrificing any of its biological effects. And this is where the real chemistry had to come in. So what I did was I put on my lab coat, and I went straight back to my, biochemistry background, and I tried to figure out, well, what the heck can we do about this stuff? Because, just because you can try and combine it with other things, but trust me, I combined it with many, many different foods, hundreds of different foods, and it wasn't really getting any better, because the power of the taste of amla was just overpowering most of the foods that I tried to combine it with. So here's what we had to solve. Okay. We're trying to create a product that has like very, 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 very high standards. Okay. And here were the standards that we were trying to meet. Number one, 100% organic or 100% wild harvested. One of those two had to be true. We wanted it to be non-GMO, so no genetic modification allowed. It's got to be culinary grade, free of lead, free of fungus, free of microbes, and very concentrated. That's what we were looking to do. Okay. Number two, we were trying to make it taste good. So like I was saying, I went and tried to combine it with as many things as I possibly could. And I ended up, experimenting around with a whole bunch of different teas. and went to Chinatown and spoke with some tea experts, and then started researching everything I could possibly find about tea to see if we could turn amla into some kind of tea without, while improving the flavor overall. And then number 3, obviously, we wanted to make the experience really cool and really fun and really enjoyable, something that you can share with other people so that you are likely to continue to do it and get the benefits of amla, as opposed to making it a terrible, not so fun experience where you just feel like you have to down this stuff because you know it's good for you. So long and hard work, we ended up creating this stuff called Amla Green. And Amla Green is a combination of a highly concentrated, non-GMO, soy-free, peanut-free, 100% organic amla, and we combine this directly with oolong dark green tea. And we combined the two of them together, and we found the perfect combination such that the oolong dark green tea cuts the flavor of the amla, and the two of them are fantastic together. And so we created this product about 6 months ago, and we started teaching people about it. And we've seen some unbelievable stories from people who have been using this stuff on a daily basis. So even though the name is Amla Green, which is technically, it's a green tea. It's the world's first Indian green tea. It actually has this brown color. It kind of looks like chocolate to a certain extent. So when you open the bottle, it has this sort of brown, color to it. And a little bit of this stuff goes a long way, like I said, because it's highly concentrated. So there's a small scooper inside, and you just take the scooper and mix it with water, and you end up with a tea. This is what the back of the package says. So it's a super ultra powerful antioxidant, 20x concentrated, and it's an incredibly powerful it's incredibly powerful addition to your low-fat plant-based whole food diet. Okay, so this is what people are saying about this stuff. People are saying, like I've had a fasting blood glucose, consistently, in the super high range, about 150 or 180 every single day. Started taking amla with no other modifications. And for the past 10 days, my blood glucose has come down below 118, even closer to 100. Okay. This is just one example. Okay. Other people on Amazon have been saying, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. I've been using this stuff for a short period of time. I've cut my blood pressure medication. My fasting glucose has come down. I have more energy all throughout the day. I haven't seen these types of numbers in a long time. I just went through and read every single review on Amazon. And there's over, I think now close to 110 reviews in a short period of time. And people are just saying one beautiful, beautiful effect after one beautiful effect. So it's, we don't make this stuff up. This is all, come from real people experimenting with this and adding it to their diet. And a lot of people have seen tremendous results. Now, I want to be super, super clear about the fact that I am not telling you to go just add amla to your diet and then call it a day. What I'm trying to communicate is that amla is a very powerful addition to an already existing low-fat, plant-based whole food diet. Okay, it's very important to understand that. True, if you're eating a standard American diet or a packaged and processed diet and you add Amla Green, you might get some benefit. You might see lower blood pressure, you might see lower lipids, you might see lower fasting glucose, but that's not what I'm telling you to do. What I am advocating that you do is first start with a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet, the way that we describe in the Mastering Diabetes program. Once you're there, then add daily Amla Green to your diet. And we specifically manufactured this stuff so that one scoop gives you 4 grams of amla per day, which is slightly more than what the research has shown to be the effective biological dose. So if you have a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet already that's decreasing your blood pressure, decreasing your cholesterol, decreasing your blood glucose, and then on top of that, you add Amla Green, this is where you get metabolic gold. Okay. There simply is, to our knowledge, no more powerful combination of food plus tea that can actually boost, that can improve your metabolic health significantly. So like I said here, your diet and Amla Green together are metabolic gold, absolute gold. And we also made it we worked super hard to make sure that we can get this stuff to you for a very cheap price, because we're not here to try and make it super expensive and make it a hindrance for you guys. That's not the point. The point is to put it in your hands and make it affordable. So what we did was we created 2 different bottles, 2 different sizes. The first is a 30-day or 30 servings inside the smaller bottle, which comes out to less than $1 a day. So it's 83 cents per day. 83 cents per day. That's less than a cup of coffee. That's like 1/3 the cup of, you could drink 3 cups of coffee. Sorry, you could drink 3 cups of this stuff, not even, and you're still not equal to 1 cup of coffee. Okay. And then you can get the larger bottle here, which actually has 90 servings inside of it. So that's good for 3 months. And this stuff is 61 cents per serving. So this is like a quarter the price of a cup of coffee. Okay, we wanted to make this stuff so inexpensive that it was just an absolute no-brainer for you guys. So those are your 2 options right here. And trust me when I say this stuff is so powerful that you don't really need that much. You just have to be very consistent about using it on a daily basis. Okay, so the webinar bonus that we have for you guys today is if you purchase one, regardless of whether you purchase the 30-day or the 90-day, you can get the second bottle for 50% off. Okay, and this offer is not going to last for a very long period of time. Okay, we don't have that much of this stuff in the warehouse right now. I'm going to be perfectly honest when I say that. And so we would recommend, if you're interested in using this stuff and experimenting around with it and getting it into your diet, I would recommend doing it sooner rather than later, because this offer is going to come down relatively soon. Okay, so what I'd love to do is go into the chat box and answer some questions that you guys have, because I know that you guys probably have a whole bunch of questions. And what we're going to do too is we're going to send you an email right after this webinar. And in the email, we will give you your coupon code, and the coupon code will enable you to unlock this offer where you can buy one, get 50% off. So check your email after this webinar, and there you'll be able to see exactly how to get this stuff in your hands. If you go to umlagreen.com, that's where you're going to be able to take advantage of this offer. And that's where you can input your coupon code when you're checking out, and you can start to unlock this stuff and get it for yourself sooner rather than later. So let's go answer some questions here, because I know that there's been a whole bunch in the chat box here, and we can start to get to the bottom of it here.
Does AMLA reduce LDL/P?
Does AMLA reduce? Yeah, so here's the thing. AMLA will reduce, the question is, does LDL reduce your LDL-P? Okay, AMLA will reduce all LDL particle sizes, regardless of whether it's small, dense LDL or regardless if it's large, fluffy LDL. All of the particle sizes, all of the particle sizes within the LDL class have been found to go down with an addition of AMLA Green into your diet. Okay, so again, remember, it's very important to remember, LDL is the most influential of all of the cholesterol particle sizes, meaning that if you reduce your LDL concentration, that's the most powerful way of cutting your heart disease risk. It's the most important way to reduce your heart disease risk is to cut your LDL concentrations. And AMLA has been shown to cut your total LDL concentration and all of the particle sizes within that.
Yeah. Would AMLA be helpful in lowering inherited cholesterol?
Lowering inherited cholesterol. So I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more information on that. Okay, I'm assuming what that means is that if you already have high cholesterol from, genetic sources, is that going to improve your LDL concentration? Or, is AMLA going to actually improve your LDL concentration? So if you have what's called familial, then what that means is that your LDL concentration is high to begin with. And if your LDL concentration is high to begin with, usually it's because you have some kind of genetic mutation in, either ApoE or some other some other gene that's actually causing a high LDL concentration. We have seen that some people can cut their LDL concentrations if they're living with familial hypercholesterolemia. Okay. And for some people, it's actually not possible. So truth be told, there's 2% of the population that needs to be on statin medication. 2% of the population needs to be on statin medication because that percentage of the population is living with familial hypercholesterolemia. Okay. The other 98% of the population does not need to be on statin medication because you can control your LDL concentration through your diet. My point is that for the 98% of the population, AMLA is a perfect substitute for statin medication. But even for that 2%, AMLA does a really good job at lowering your LDL concentration. And I'm not going to say that it can do it in every single case, but it's definitely worth experimenting around with because, again, the statin medications tend to have a whole laundry list of side effects, and AMLA does not have any side effects that we know about.
No risk opportunity. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer as far as we're concerned. Yeah. Okay. Some people say, oh, okay, if I live in a humid area and I store AMLA green in my cupboard, sometimes it can actually cake into a thick nugget. And that is a true statement. Okay. So what we are now recommending is take your AMLA green, take your bottle and store it directly in the fridge. Let me get a bottle. Let me show you.
Yeah. It's the best place to store it, your fridge.
Okay. So this stuff right here, okay, you can probably, hopefully you can see this in front of me. This is AMLA green right here. Okay, if you shake it, just listen. Okay, there's a scooper inside, and the scooper, you can actually hear it clicking. Okay, there's also a bunch of AMLA powder in here, and what you do is you take this stuff and you put the whole jar into the fridge. Okay, and store it in the fridge, and if you do that, then it'll preserve its shelf life. So after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months or so, it's not going to cake and end up causing you heartache and getting you pissed off. And instead, you're going to end up with AMLA powder over the course of time. So let me just show you exactly how this stuff works. You open the bottle, okay? You just take the lid off right here, and you end up with a sealed top. And that's good because we want to make sure that the manufacturer sealed this stuff properly. So if you take off the seal, just like this, okay, you'll see that there's AMLA powder right here on the inside. So like I said earlier, it looks like chocolate. Okay, it's AMLA green, but it's actually, I guess we could have called it AMLA brown, but that's not a very appealing
AMLA
name.
chocolate, maybe.
AMLA chocolate.
Could be a new flavor coming soon.
So if you dig, here's what you find.
You got to find the scooper. Okay,
grab that.
Sometimes it's buried in there, but there it is.
Perfect.
There's your scooper.
Perfect. Thank you. So you take this scooper right here, and all you're going to do is take one scoop. It doesn't really need to be an overflowing scoop. You take one scoop just like that, okay? And you mix that into a glass of warm or hot water, and then you stir it up, and then you end up with a AMLA green tea that you take once a day, and it's just that simple, okay? So the goal here is to make sure that you can keep this stuff as a powder as long as possible. If this stuff is stored in a humid location, it can end up turning into a cake, and we're trying to prevent that from happening. So that's a long-winded way of me saying, put it in the fridge, and then that problem's solved.
Very simple solution. Okay. So should we go up to this one?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So I have been using AMLA green once a day at night after dinner. I am down 3/4 of the jar, but it has turned hot. We just did that. Okay. Can we eat fruit anytime? Is it commonly said that eat fruit on empty stomach? You can eat fruit anytime you want, guys. Sometimes food combining can become an important thing. You don't necessarily want to mix oranges and bananas when you're eating lots of fruit. But sometimes, a lot of times, if you're eating small amounts of fruit in addition to your meals, it doesn't matter. Enjoy fruit anytime you want.
Absolutely.
All right, we did that one.
Okay. Does AMLA reduce LDLP, LPLA, inherited cholesterol? Yep, we did that. Is there a shelf life for AMLA green? No. So, okay. The shelf life for AMLA green can be prolonged if you put it into the fridge. From my understanding, if you keep it outside of the fridge, it'll keep for approximately 6 months. If you keep it in the fridge, you can probably keep it for as long as a year. I've had one thing in the fridge for a full 6 months, and it is still It is still very potent, very powerful, and it has not caked yet. So I would say if it's in the fridge, you can probably keep it as long as about a year.
There you go.
Okay. Where is Amla Green sourced from? Okay, where does this stuff come from? So we imported our Amla Green from India, directly from the source. We get a 20x concentrated Amla source. What does that mean? It means that 20 grams of Amla berries have been condensed and concentrated into 1 gram of Amla powder. Again, 20 grams of Amla berries condensed and concentrated into 1 gram of Amla powder. So if you start with that, and then we mixed it with oolong dark green tea, ending up with Amla Green that has this brown powdered appearance. Okay, next question. How many times a day can you drink Amla Green? Can you do it once per day, twice a day, 3 times a day? Okay, what we recommend is you just literally need it once a day. If you want to do it more than once a day, you can do it twice a day. It's totally fine. You might get more of an effect. You might not get more of an effect. So most people are just drinking it once per day, and it can go up to 2 or 3 times a day. And it's, more is not always better when it comes to this stuff. Okay. It's not about how much, it's about how consistent you are. And we say that even in the Mastering Diabetes program, consistency is the key. Be very consistent in your intake. And that right there is what's going to get you improvement in your metabolic health. And the low-fat plant-based whole food diet plus Amla Green together is metabolic gold. Never seen anything more powerful.
Pure gold. Okay. I think we got through most of the questions.
Is there any more questions coming up in the chat box?
Somebody asked, is it organic?
Somebody asked, is it organic? Yes. The answer is Amla itself is organic. The oolong dark green tea is not organic right now, and we're going to do our best to try and get that organic as well. The Amla itself is absolutely organic.
Cool.
Okay. Can you add it to smoothies? Yes, 100%. Okay. This stuff is not going to cause your smoothie to taste any worse. So if you want to put it into a smoothie, go for it. I've put it in soups before. I've mixed it with water. I've mixed it with, some kind of vegetable juice. It's all fine. You can do anything, any of that. Just make sure that you get the equivalent of about at least 1 scoop into your body per day.
Perfect.
Okay. If it lowers your blood glucose, where is the excess blood glucose going? Is Amla making you more sensitive, or does it work like metformin? Okay. So here's what the researchers are trying to find out: the actual biological mechanism and what it's actually doing to try and figure out how it's getting less glucose, or it's how it's getting glucose out of your blood. What preliminary research has shown is that what it's doing is it's allowing tissues in your body to open up small cellular doors so that the glucose from your blood can leave your blood. That's all it's doing. Okay. So it's not like it's magically getting rid of glucose. It's literally just allowing glucose to go where it's supposed to go, which is inside of your liver and inside of your muscle. And when that happens, then it leaves your blood, and therefore it's causing, it's considered a blood glucose reducing food.
Okay. Midge is asking, is Amla a permanent fix? So, or does it stop? Does it not work? You gotta, like Sarah says, consistency is key. If you want to see the benefits of Amla, you want to use it consistently, but you also want to combine it with your lifestyle changes. That's going to be the core of this working together. That's why we talk about both. You got to do both and do them both consistently.
Absolutely. Dr. Andrew Chuma, how you doing, Dr. Chuma? I communicate with him often. He's a fantastic guy. So the question he says is, how many milligrams of caffeine are in 1 dose of Amla Green? And the answer is approximately 50 milligrams. Approximately 50 milligrams of caffeine are present per dose, which is approximately 1/4 what you would get from a cup of black coffee. Okay, so it's 1/4 as powerful, and we're actually developing. Do you want to show them?
Yeah, sure.
We're in the process of making a caffeine-free variety. Okay,
we're going through the sampling process.
Yep, we're making this stuff as we speak. Okay, this stuff, we want to put this stuff in your hands as much as possible. Okay, so this is what happens when you do a bunch of chemistry and you end up with a product that has not been able to be manufactured yet, but we are literally working on this stuff on a daily basis to try and get caffeine-free amla into your hands.
We want to make sure it tastes good. It's got to be palatable. I mean, that's the whole thing here.
No question.
Trying to tell coaching clients to use this for years, and it wasn't palatable.
It wasn't palatable. We made it palatable. Now it's got a little bit of caffeine. We're trying to get rid of that caffeine. So ultimately, you're going to have a caffeinated version and a non-caffeinated version, or a decaf version, and that's coming very soon. Okay? Now, we want to make a very important announcement here. Okay.
Do it.
For the longest time, it was not possible to ship amla internationally.
That's right.
And so we did a workaround and we made it possible, but only for a small number of people. And it's just been too difficult. It's just been too difficult. We would love to announce that as of today, okay, we've literally been working on this problem for 6 months. And we finally solved it. We finally solved it. So if you live internationally, whether you live in Canada, whether you live in Mexico, whether you live in Australia, whether you live in New Zealand, whether you live in the United Kingdom, whether you live in France or anywhere in mainland Europe.
Will we ship to Antarctica?
Absolutely.
Why not?
If the U.S. Postal Service can ship to Antarctica, then you can get it in your hands. Okay. Whether you live in Iceland, it doesn't matter. Anywhere outside of the United States, you can now order Amla Green internationally. It's been taking a lot of work to get there, but you can do it finally, and we are super happy to announce that. So if you live outside the United States, all you do is you go to amlagreen.com and you place your order through the amlagreen.com website, and that will enable you to ship internationally. So you can visit amlagreen.com right now, but what I would recommend doing is first wait until we send you an email with a coupon code, because the coupon code will actually enable you to save 50% on your second bottle.
That's right.
So whether you want to do it now or whether you want to wait till that email comes through, we're just providing you an option to save and get that buy one, get one 50% off if you check your email. But if you live internationally, now is your chance to actually get this stuff in your hands, and it's simple and it's effective and stuff works.
It's really exciting. All right.
Okay. Andrea says, what if I already have super low triglycerides and low total LDLs? It's going to make it too low. I've literally in my time never seen anybody that has too low LDL or too low triglycerides. I don't know what that looks like. So don't be worried that if you take this, that it's going to make you quote unquote too low. Okay. The point is to get your LDL concentrations less than 70 milligrams per deciliter. That's where we want to get you. So if you're already there, then fantastic. This stuff's not going to go to, it's not going to force your LDL or your triglycerides to zero. That's impossible. Add this because of its antioxidant power. Add it because of all the other effects that you've seen in addition to lowering your lipid profile.
So there's nothing to worry about here.
Yep.
This has been fun.
This has been super fun. Okay. Can we do a screen share where we show them the new Amla Green website?
You sure can.
Okay.
So just maybe open up a new, share the whole screen maybe?
Yeah, let's try that. Let's
do a little.
Oops. Okay. Do a little quick test run, a live test run.
Let's just quit this for the time being. Quit that program. Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And share your entire
So here's
screen.
what I'm going to do. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Or
Live.
just the window. Usually the entire screen is best.
Yeah, I'm going to go entire screen here.
There you go.
Okay. Can you guys see our screen?
Yeah, let us know in the chat box. Do you see amlagreen.com on our screen? Say yes if you see our website here that we've worked hard to put together and allow you guys
To get your hands on this stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we see a lot of yeses. So this is good.
So what you should see is a picture of green tea where it says "Welcome, shop our store." Can you guys see this?
I see lots of yeses.
Okay, lots of yeses. Okay, so let me give you a quick tour of how this website works. You get to the main page, and here you'll get to learn a little bit more about how we can combine amla gooseberries with oolong green tea. You'll learn a little bit more about how Amla is actually the whole food antioxidant king. This is the king. It's got 75 times as much antioxidant power as goji berries, 60 times as much as pomegranate, 50 times as much as blueberries, 13 times as much as black raspberries, and as much as 2 times more powerful than turmeric. Okay, so if you first scroll further down, there's 2 options. You can get the 30-day, you can get the 90-day. If you want to learn why you should buy from us and not from other people, watch this video here. Okay, and then you can learn a little bit more about Amla Green as a company. There's a lot of positive reviews, and you can read all these reviews right here. Okay, now let me show you how you can get this stuff in your hands. What you do, actually, you know what? Before we get there, I want to show you the reviews.
This is even more.
This is not a joke. This is real people with real reviews. Okay, these are all the reviews for people who have reviewed this stuff for blood glucose and diabetes. Here we go. I'm just going to let you look at what people have been saying.
It's a lot of reviews.
Lots of reviews here. Review after review after review. Then we have people talking about how it's reduced their blood pressure and their cholesterol. And there's more. Look, all throughout the screen. Then we have a lot of people who are saying, I like how much energy it's given me and I love the taste. Review after review after review. These keep coming in every single day. It's all over the place. It's almost insane what people are saying about this stuff.
It's fun to read.
Yeah. 5-star review after 5-star review after 5-star review. This stuff is very powerful. So that's the review section. Okay. So if you want to get this stuff in your hand, you simply click on Shop Our Store. Then you go and you choose which one you would like. Okay. So whether I'm going to choose the 30-day, fine. Fantastic. You can read a little bit more about it. You can see all of these, these images here that show you exactly what this stuff looks like. You can add it to your cart simply by clicking here. And when you do, what we recommend is to, in order to take advantage of this buy one, get one 50% off, you have to have at least 2 in your shopping cart. So if you hit the checkout button, you can then check out simply by using either PayPal or Amazon Pay. And it's a simple way to make this happen. So again, we didn't even say this.
Yeah.
If you have more than $49 in your cart, we give you free shipping. Free shipping on orders more than $49. So yes, I want free shipping. Fantastic. So I'm going to go get free shipping. And then again, you can ship you can check out either using PayPal or using Amazon Pay.
And if you use PayPal, you can use your credit card right there with PayPal. See how it says these credit card companies? So that's an option too. So
absolutely.
Use your PayPal, use your Amazon.
Either one doesn't matter. So if I choose Amazon Pay as an example, I then hit complete order. And then as long as you have an Amazon account, you log in using that Amazon account. Can I do that right now?
I got to use a different account.
No, shoot. Okay. So that's going to be a pain in the butt right now. But you can do either that or PayPal. You just simply click here. You can click complete your order, and then you can log in with your PayPal account, which I'm not going to do here because it's going to be too much. But you can have one of those 2 options, and you can get this stuff immediately. Now, we're going to email you a discount code. Use that discount code. You click apply, and then you'll show that it'll actually save you money right here. Guys, we're making this stuff as affordable as possible.
Absolutely.
We're making the checkout process seamless. So if you want to get this stuff in your hands, it's literally never been easier. And again, you can get this stuff internationally now.
That's right. Absolutely. Just enter in your address and it'll estimate your shipping and you'll be all set. So we can turn this off and bring on that.
That was a lot of fun.
It was super fun.
We worked super hard to be able to get this stuff in your hands for the smallest amount of money possible, and now we can ship it internationally. And again, if your shopping cart has more than $49, shipping is free.
That's right.
Free shipping. I like free.
Is it free internationally or just in America?
It's just free in the United States. I would love to be able to ship it free internationally, but we can't do that right now.
Yeah. So, and again, it's going to depend on what your shipping charge is. Just whatever the postal service or whatever service is being used is charging us. We're not increasing the fee for your international shipping. Whatever it takes us to send it to you, that's what you get charged by the software automatically.
Okay, last question here. It says, when is the email with the coupon code going out?
Yeah.
The answer is within the next 2 hours. So check your email within the next 2 hours, and you're going to get the coupon code. It's going to enable you to save 50% on your second bottle. Okay, so I'm on pins and needles personally, and I know a lot of you guys are very excited about this whole process. So check your email within the next 2 hours. We're also going to send you the coupon code tomorrow as well, just in case you missed it.
Check your email and check your spam just in case it goes there. And we hope you guys really enjoy it. We can't wait to see your review on the website.
Absolutely. You want your review up there? We can get it up there. We can even do video reviews.
Hey.
We can put them up there.
So you could send us a video, email it to us. We've got support at almagreen.com. You can send it to the team. Either way, just send it to us. You just reply to one of our emails, and we'll put the video up there.
Absolutely. No question.
We love hearing from you guys.
We love you guys.
We just want to help. We want to see you get the results. We want to see your goals become a reality.
I mean, look, there's 435 people that are still on the webinar right now.
I love the enthusiasm.
That makes me really happy. Okay. So thank you again for being here. If you want the quick summary of what we went over, I'll give it to you right now. I'll give you the 60-second review. Okay. Amla Green is the most powerful antioxidant containing food on the planet. It's more powerful than statin medication. It's more powerful than blood glucose lowering medication that's commonly prescribed. It has 0 side effects. Statin medication has a ton of side effects. And over the course of time, it can increase your risk for cancer and diabetes. Nobody wants that. Amla is notoriously difficult to get in the United States. We solved that problem. Amla tastes terrible. We solved that problem. Now you can ship Amla internationally, and if you if your order has more than $49 in your shopping cart, you can now get free shipping.
That's right. Free shipping in the U.S.
Free shipping in the U.S. You can ship internationally. This stuff tastes good. Keep it in your fridge.
Check it out.
I just don't know what else I can say about this stuff. I'm going to go make a glass right now. I can't wait. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. We've had a blast. We hope you have enjoyed this as well. Check your email. Within the next 2 hours, you're going to get a coupon code. Go right back to the Amla Green website. You can check out right there. You can save 50% on your second bottle. And we want to hear from you guys. If you have any questions about this stuff, respond to one of our emails or write an email to support@amlagreen.com. Either way, we'll get your questions answered. You got any concerns, whatever it is, you let us know. We want to make sure that you feel confident. And once you do, we want to see that Amla Green can actually make positive changes, lowering your blood glucose, lowering your cholesterol, lowering your blood pressure. It can do all of it together, 0 side effects. Want to put that in your hands today.
Let's do it. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hope you have a great day. See you guys soon.
See ya.